Hi guys, and back with another video. Today we'll be doing what if Naruto had the karma sale, and this is most likely gonna be a two-parter, if not two-parter, a three-parter. So yeah, and the next video supposed to come after this will be what if Tanjiro had moon and sun breathing, or as my subscribers want to call it, eclipse breathing, which I don't mind. So as you can see from the thumbnail, this is gonna be 18 only what if, because I haven't done one in a while, so I decided to do one. I hope you like the music because I like it, so y'all gonna like it because I like it. Okay, don't ask any questions that you don't want to answer to. So without further ado, I have nothing to really to say, so let's get into the video. So this video is gonna start around when Naruto was training for Jiraiya with the first time. But before I do that, I need to do something because I forgot what I was supposed to be doing prior to this. But anyways, I will give you more information on what I needed to tell you later because I forgot to watch the video. I apologize for that. So let's start off prior to when Naruto's birth. Like, I mean thousands of years before Naruto was born, before Minato was born, before Kushin. You know the works, right? We start off with, let's say, Kimimaro Otsutsuki. Kimimaro was an Otsutsuki god candidate. But what I mean by Otsutsuki god candidate was there was a lot of Otsutsuki that was urging the power of an Otsutsuki god, but I hadn't fulfilled it at that point. But he was really close to being that person. And he was the little brother of Kaguya Otsutsuki, the princess of the Otsutsuki clan. So he was a prince, but he was younger. So if succession was supposed to be put in this, he wouldn't be chosen for the throne as yet. But he had no interest in being prince or king in any sense of the word. Because to be perfectly honest, he didn't really care that much about anything. Human life, Otsutsuki life, everything. He didn't care. The only person he really cared for, to be perfectly honest, was his sister. A person that got ridiculed in his clan. That's what made him not care that much about his clan. But he still got stronger and delivered the god fruit. But he stumbled onto a galaxy that was hidden for some reason. But he had no qualms on going there. But then he realized something. He doesn't really have to bring back the fruit anymore because they don't know about this place. And how the Otsutsuki work is that they bring the fruit and then they share the fruit with everyone else, and everyone else gets stronger. And that's what his section of the clan does. His section of the clan does. He doesn't know what the others do, but that's what he does. Because he controls a certain section of the clan, since being an Otsutsuki god candidate. So after a while, he decided that he was going to stay there for a bit. He told them that he was going to go and do something because he got really bored of just capturing planets. He would probably enslave a planet and then take it after. And Otsutsuki had no problems with doing this because it's something that they do because they have nothing to do. But this is not what he was going to do at all. Yes, he was going to stay on the planets for a while and see how they observe, but eventually he'll just sprout up the fruit and just take it up. And on his way of coming back to the clan, he would just go to around the planet and take their fruit and then give it back to the clan. So Kimimaro decided to go into the, we're gonna call it the X galaxy. And the first planet he wandered on was a planet called, let's call it Plantania. Plantania was nothing but forest, and as he observed through the years he's being there, was basically made on plants and wood and nature in its entirety. But one thing he noticed about the plants, there was different type of plants. There was something called blackwood trees, which had a barrier and sensing type of of wood, and then there was white trees, or what? Yeah, white trees, which was more or less according to illusions and absorbing chakra, or energy, or they called nature energy. Because these, and then there was normal wood from every other planet, which was brown wood, but their brown wood was way different than he's usually saw. Than he usually saw. Brown wood normally was just normal wood, but in here, brown wood was just absorbing nature and energy in its entirety. After spending a long time there, he planted the god tree, but he made it progress slowly, but not just sucking it all up at one time, which he could do, but he decided not to. So he lived on a planet and created many clones of himself to go through the planet, deciding just waiting until everyone dies, taking care of them to their last breath. Because to be honest, unlike his clan, he had a lot of sympathy. He didn't understand why he had it, but he had sympathy. When he ate his first fruit, he instantly gained some sort of humanity, something that he never felt before. He never felt love for other people, or never cared for other people in its entirety, but suddenly he just started caring. It didn't make sense for him, but he wasn't also gonna question it. He was never a person to defy laws. He was never a person to defy his laws, not anyone else's, but his. So if something changed within him, he's not gonna defy it. If something did change, and he would keep going on to that path that his emotions carried him on. So that was the point, right? So now Kimimaro saw everyone on that planet die, and he knew it was all his fault. But there was this teeny bit of this itty bitty part of him that's still a Suki that really just didn't give a fuck. So Kimimaro took the guard fruit and ate it. He traveled to another planet that was completely made of metal and had large amounts of advanced technology. He gained 2 dojutsus when eating that planet. One was Jigen's thing to shrink things and carry it back to normal size. Then the other one was a Renning Sharingan, which he got from the nature planet. And his Renning Sharingan, he had many different abilities like Kamui, Linbo, Amaterasu, Tsugayomi, Infinite Tsugayomi, Partial Tsugayomi, and a lot of other things that I won't mention now to keep the story going. Then went to another planet that was completely made out of ice, which he had to adjust to, which was pretty funny seeing him have to sneeze and shit, although he never really got sick before, but all of a sudden he got sick because of how cold this place is. Because he stayed on each planet, he stays for a long time and just watched the inhabitants die, not out of pleasure like most of his clansmen, if given the chance, would do. He did it as in shown of respect of all of their deaths and buried all of them. And he ended up eating the god fruit. Then after doing that, he gained immense control over ice, being able to create ice statue, ice pillars, ice everything. If he could imagine it, it could happen. Then he went to a planet completely made out of crystals. This was a sight that amazed him. A place made up completely out of crystals. It was magnificent in his twisted fate of thoughts. So yeah, he then went to another planet, and then another planet, and then another, and then another, until the whole entire X dimension or X galaxy was completely barren with dead worlds. Before leaving, he bowed his head and set off to a new planet. This planet called Zaktar. This is not a planet he was going to get a chocolate fruit from, but this is a planet that he thought of that had a low radars, but he knew why they had low radars. But this is where his Osusi attendant came with him, because he came back and he asked him, where is the planet that you so great, so subjugized? He told him, we'll go back there, but I want to go a place before I do that. And the Osuski, the side branch Osuski member, obeyed him and just went there. He looked at the inhabitants and says, this inhabitant is greater than most worlds, even Earth that my sister was supposed to go to. He said, I'm gonna share something with you that everyone kinda knows, but they think I don't know. She was doomed to go on that planet. Because the clansmen thought she was so weak that she would die on that planet. They underestimated her. I believe she got sealed or something, but knowing her desperation to live, she would eat that chocolate fruit. And the side branch of Susuke member gasped at that thought, because he didn't underestimate Kaguya, but he never thought she was strong. So it made sense for her to eat the fruit because it would extend her life and make her stronger than Jigen or Ishiki. So he knew Kaguya would do something like that, and he knew that also that what is called him now? Kimimaru knew so as well, but Kimimaru pondered on it no more, and just went down to the planet and observed the instead of eating the chocolate fruit like he did on the other planets, he observed the chocolate tree into himself. And then the Ususuki side branch member asked him why'd he do this, and he looked at him and said, it's none of your business. And if you do want to know, I'm gonna go back to the clan and eat it and separate it there. I don't feel like doing it here. I are carrying the fruit in one of my dimensions. It will take too much energy. He was lying. He just sealed inside his body for ample reasons that we'll get in later. So then the side branch member traveled to the so-called planet that he conquered. But when he got there, he knew something was up. They were happy. They were just dancing around. And this is a world made completely out of... Actually, you guys should decide that. You guys decide what the planet was made out of. But just know, I want you to know this. He would get that Kiki Genkai at what the planet was made out of. Just want you all guys to know that, right? Just want you guys to know that. So, the side branch Susi member knew something was going on, but he kept quiet. Kimimaru landed on the ground and put his hand on the ground and said, "Divine tree." And this tree sprouted out, coming out of the ground, towering over the whole planet. And then the branches, millions of branches, started to grab and pierce all of the inhabitants. And the inhabitants of that planet got their chakra struck out of them, their body becoming completely skeleton-like. But then a pulse entered their body, and then their skin began to turn white, and they started to get back nourishment. Their eyes became yellow, and their hair became a dark purple. Now this is where he noticed something was up. Why would he do this? He looked at Kimimaru and asked him what was the meaning of this, and Kimimaru looked at him and said, "None of your business." And looked away. This is where he went up to the top of the tree and ate the fruit. His long curled horns that pointed up in the air, just to give you an idea what his horns look like, but just know they're a little bit longer. Think of Os's horns when he enters the half demon mode. Think of those horns. Then imagine them a little bigger. So yeah, I mean like the edges of the horns just grow a little bit, right? So then he realized something was happening. His horns became black, and then not green, red veins started to appear all over them. And his now used to be a lavender colored Byakugan turned into a deep purple Byakugan. His Byakugan activated, and he looked towards the Osusuki side branch member and said, "This is where we depart. I had a fun ride, if it helps in any consolation. You were a good help to me at some points in time. I'll always cherish you. Always cherish that memory." And the Osusuki stepped back and says, "What are you talking about? I'll just implant my karma on someone." And Kimimaru said that won't be happening. And then in a blink of an eye, he disappeared. And then when he looked back, his hand was on his chest, and his chest started to collapse onto itself and absorb itself into his hand. The Suzuki closed his eyes, knowing his fate and knowing that he was gonna get absorbed today, and he accepted it. And the red veins on Kirimaru's horns glowed a bright red, and then the tree withered away and fell to the ground. The planet itself started to crumble, started to go gray, and started to crack itself, but it wasn't gonna destroy itself yet. He was waiting on people. These people was the other Osusuki candidates. He knew observing them wouldn't make him the Osusuki god, but it would bring him that much closer to it. Now they end up coming, and Kimimaru looked at them and said, "Well, it's been a long ride. Just like I told my partner, this will be the last time we'll be meeting. And I mean you meeting me, because you are going to die." They snarked at this and says, "There's no way you can kill us. We have the exact same strength as you." Kirimaru looked at them with this nigga, what you talking about, nigga? I don't understand what you're saying. You think you're stronger than me? That's a pretty funny thing. And then one of their heads just got snatched off, grabbed and snatched. And then they looked back to see Kimimaru and says, "You still think you're stronger than me? Because I can prove it even more if you want me to." They started to back in fear, but Kimimaru told them there was no doing that anymore. There was no going back, stepping back. You were gonna die here, now, and today. So, any last words? But when they were gonna speak, he said, "Actually, I don't really care." And they got absorbed into him. Now Kimimaru decided, well, that's enough, and he lived out a lot of years on that planet, not really moving. And no Suzuki came to find him because they realized that he killed the rest of the Suzuki god candidates and most likely observed them. So they know that he's a rogue one, but they don't feel on going for him. Although his father could come and look for him and could pose a threat to him, he couldn't. He knew he couldn't leave from that spot. That was the one saving grace of him, because no matter how strong he thought he got, he knew that if his father came, he would give him a run for his money. So it was just best to keep away for a bit. Now Kimaru decided that it was once time. But he remembered one thing he told Ishiki or Jigen before leaving, and Jigen said that he wanted to become Osusu God candidate. This is where, just like he did to Kaguya, Kirimaru mocked him. He mocked his mere existence, of saying something so stupid, of wanting to be just like him. Something so impotent and so unbelievable, it's funny. The thought that he, not even as nobles, not even as a royal status, thinks that he has any chance of becoming an Osusu God. Thinking that he had any rationality to think so. When he thought his sister couldn't become one, and she's a person of royal status. He thought it was completely hilarious. The others didn't think much of it and encouraged him, but Kimaru told them then in that case Kaguya should be more eligible to become an Osusu God than him, because she is a noble, because he prides himself on being such a noble of high class that a person that's above him that he mocks has more intention of becoming the Osusu God than him. So him speaking before him now is like saying noble rank doesn't matter to him. And then the other god candidates started to ponder on this and started to see what he was talking about. He was like, to them, and how Kimaru made it seem like he was mocking the whole noble royal status thing. Because I forgot to mention, all those other the Osusu god candidates, all of them are related to Kaguya, and Kaguya is related to her father. So all of them related. So all of them are Kaguya's brothers, but I don't really care for Kaguya, but Kimaru is the only one that really does. Just wanted to point that out. So he finished his flashback of sorts, and a diamond mark comes from off of his hand and flows away into the wind, looking for its new vessel. Let's cut the crap here. We all know it's Naruto. Like, this is Naruto. What if Naruto had the karma seal? This is not gonna go down past generations, past the past Uzumaki. Nah. This is gonna be it. So we skip to Naruto when he was training with Jiraiya. Well, no, when he was in the land of waves. He woke up in a sweat, but he wasn't he wasn't waking up. In this place, he was standing on clear water that looked so beautiful. But when he looked up and saw the reflection of the water, when he looked up and he saw the sky, the sky was full of white, fluffy clouds. But the strange thing but the sky itself, unlike its usual blue color, it was pink, a beautiful pink color. It just made him want you to reach out for the stars. But in the distance, he could see a tree, a huge tree that had a huge fruit on top of it. But he paid that no mind. He then sensed a presence right in front of him, and right in front of his face was Kimimaru. Kimimaru looked at him and says, "I choose you." Well, you're the only one who can choose, to be honest with you. You're the only person young and will live long enough. You're the only person that has enough chakra and is that headstrong not to be just overtaken by my will. You will charge on even if billions of people stand into your path. No matter how strong they are, you would keep charging forward. Promise me, Naruto Uzumaki, that no matter what the odds are, no matter everything you do, you will always charge forward no matter what. You would climb into the depths of hell if it called for it. You would never give up. You would never tremble into the fear of death. know what? You would become the god of death. That is your fate. You would become the god of death. The person that decides who lives or who dies. That is your fate. I give you the power now to decide your own fate. But there's only one fate you can follow in the end. You could make multiple branches of your path that you want to go on, but in the end, your fate will always be sealed for you to become the god of death. The person who decides who dies or who lives. No matter what those odds are, you are to live for eternity, and you are to live forever. Undying God. And then he faded away in a bunch of ashes, and Naruto finally waked up. But in the palm of his hand, which he didn't realize, but he scratched, there was now a diamond mark in his hand. But if you looked closely, the diamond mark had a crown in it, a red crown, instead of the diamond that was in his hand. Now, guys, I need to tell you about something. Actually, I just want to talk to you all. I'll give you a little quiz. So, what I want you to do, right? I want you to name who's the youngest Hokage besides Minato. The youngest Hokage. You know what? The youngest Kage in the world of Naruto, prior to Minato. And I want you to tell me who was the strongest character in Naruto before Naruto became Hokage. So who was stronger? Who was second? Well, not strongest. Who was third strongest between the time of Naruto the Last and Boruto? So who was the third strongest? Put it down in the comments. Naruto waked up and thought it was a dream. Now time skip about way after the preliminaries exams where Naruto passed. When he asked Kakashi for training and said that he was training Sasuke, and under his breath, but he didn't know Naruto heard him. It would be way more successful to train a person like Sasuke that had actual talent, not like a person that just got lucky half of the time. Naruto put on a fake smile and said it was okay, although hearing that disappointing news, that even his sensei thought that he was useless and only got by on something called pure luck. Hold on for a bit. So Naruto left off, and he still met up with the other sensei. But this is where he eventually found Jiraiya, and Jiraiya decided to train the kid, seeing that he was Minato's son, seeing that he wasn't there for most of his life, although he was supposed to be. He took in Naruto, but he also had someone along with him. She had a blue hair and yellowish eyes. They could be mistaken for orange sometimes, but yellow. She had a rose made out of paper on the top of her head, and her hair was short. And she was wearing a white kimono with red string on it, with a short black skirt. This is where Jiraiya started to teach Naruto how to water walk and stuff, until Jiraiya saw something on Naruto's hand, and marks started to spread on his hand, and it hit on his back of his hand. He got diamonds all along his knuckles, and then there was a moon in the middle. On the back of Naruto's hand, there was a moon, a crescent moon on his hand, and it was on the front of his hand, on his fingertips. There was also diamond marks. Jiraiya asked Naruto what was this, and Naruto actually told him that he didn't know. He had a mark on his hand ever since the Land of Waves, but never knew what it was. Jiraiya said to pour chakra into it and see what was it, because he thought it was a seal. Naruto did this, and then the marks instantly started to spread and went up all the way to his eye, on the left half of his body. Then a horn started to sprout, and a pulse of energy. But then a dome appeared around the training field. Then both Konan and Jiraiya got. Actually, it's Koni, but she calls herself Konan. Just telling you. This for a little, little just a little side tangent. Konan or Koni is Konan's sister. The Konan with pain, that is Konan's sister, and her name is Koni. But for to sympathize it, we're gonna call her Konan. Cause to be honest, I just wanted Konan, but I guess she was a little bit too old for me at that point. Cause like when Naruto is about 30, let's say 35, which I think that's the age he is at in Boruto right now. Konan will be like fucking going into her 50s. Just wanted you to know that. I think I don't know how old Konan is in Naruto, in actual Naruto, but I don't care. So they look at Naruto, seeing his form on his lap, but in both of his eye was purple and veins on it. Jiraiya recognized it as the Byakugan, but a voice mixed with Naruto's, an unidentified voice, with like it was like two people speaking at the same time, but one wasn't recognized. But it elevated you to that voice. The voice was capturing. It made you wanted to listen to it. But but then Naruto said something, or Kiminaru, or Kiminaru. They were gonna call him Kiminaru. Started to speak and says, "My name is Kimimaru Osensuki. This boy is now my vessel, or he's gonna inherit my power, because soon from now I'm gonna fade away. This is what I wanted to be. I wanted to die so I could see my sister again. But honestly, I don't think she's dead. But if she is, I'll still get to see her in the afterlife, even if there is an afterlife. I'm leaving my power with Naruto Uzumaki. Honestly, I don't know why I'm asking you this question or telling you this, because after this I'm gonna wipe your memories. But that's no importance. I will grant you a wish. Lay it on me." Then in that exact moment, his left eye turned into the Rene Sharingan, with all 9 tumors swirling in his eye. "Any wish I may grant, no matter what it is. Konan, I'll give a wish to both of you. I can enhance your powers, bring back someone from the dead, but I cannot bring someone that is currently in the Shinigami's stomach. Just wanted to tell you that. And if they're alive, I can't bring them back if they're already alive. I can enhance people's powers, but only a slight bit, because you're not mine." And Konan, without hesitating, said that she wants her abilities enhanced. Naruto, Kimimaru flew over towards her, and touched her head, and then her paper that was kind of sparking off of her body became black and had a kanji for her name, Konan. And she was surprised and said, "You, one wish." Jiraiya thought about it a lot. He knew that Minato couldn't be brought back, and Kushina would not be wanted to separate from Minato because of how strong they loved each other. He said, "Bring back Obito Uchiha." Kimimaru said, "I can't bring back someone that's already alive." This shocked Jiraiya, knowing that now Obito is now alive, and started to put the pieces together. It was Obito that started the attack, but he pondered on no more, since what this person told him, that he was gonna erase his memories. Then, in that case, bring back a person called Rin Nohara. Kimimaru snapped his hands, and the head of the ghetto statue, but all 10 of his eyes was open, but in all 10 of those eyes, it was filled with Rene Sharingan. It opened its mouth, and out appeared a naked a naked Rin and Nohara. She dropped to the floor, unconscious. Naruto snapped his hands, and the barrier faded, and the karma seal was seated back into the palm of his hand. He fell to the ground in extreme agony, but then a flash appeared in Jiraiya and Conan's eyes. They saw the Renin Sharingan. Then they blacked out also. But Conan and Jiraiya waked up seconds after they falled out. But Naruto started then the karma seal spread back onto Naruto's spread it back onto Naruto. Naruto now having the Byakugan in his eyes. And trees growing around him, swirling and picking him up, making a chair for him to use, and earth rose up to help him perch back up himself. Jiraiya and Conan, seeing this, were shocked. The power that there is emanating off of Naruto is unimaginable. It's unimaginably strong. The aura that he's just letting off is just screaming, "Nigga, I can beat your ass." But Jiraiya paid this no mind and rushed towards Naruto. Now they started to talk about Naruto's powers and how he has the Byakugan now. They asked no questions because they knew Naruto knew nothing about this, so there was no fuss on asking any questions. But then they saw the girl laying there on the ground, obviously seen by how much power Naruto emanated. But only one person recognized this person. That was Jiraiya. Jiraiya ran over to her and says, Rin, are you okay?" And Rin looked up and says, "Jiraiya?" And she looked across and saw Naruto, and at first thought it was Minato, and ran up to Naruto. But when she hugged him, she was fully naked, and Conan had to push Jiraiya to look the other way. And Jiraiya says, "I have some morals. She's a little girl." And Conan, I said, "I still don't trust you." And when Naruto was blushing heavily, but also felt something weird. Emotions that he had hidden deep inside of his body and tried to forget the most about started to surface. His unimaginable depression, anxiety, and everything about himself that he used to hate come hitting him like a brick. It's like the thing that he tried so hard to suppress and pretend like that was never there bit at him and told him, "I'm back." Naruto's eyes began to dull and started to become a little emotionless, but he saw the girl that was in front of him and hugged her back, but didn't understand why she was doing this. She finally looked up to see that this was not Minato, but she felt like she needed to hug this person. Like, if there was anybody in the world that needed to hug right now, was him. So she kept on doing it until she realized that she was completely naked. And then she was about to pull away, but then she realized, yeah, she's still fucking naked. So even if she moved, it wouldn't make sense. Now, this is where Naruto realized that she was also naked. So he took off her jacket and placed it around her and zipped it up and told her she can keep it. And she thanks Naruto. Now this is where Jiraiya was finally able to look back and says, "Conan, I don't understand how you live, how you're alive." And Conan said that it's mostly because of the pulse of Naruto's power that just went off. We can't apparently know Naruto has complete mastery over wood style without even needing hand signs. So it wouldn't surprise me now if he could bring back people from the dead. And Naruto, bring back people from the dead. Wait, what are you talking about? And then explain what happened when the karma seal spread. Naruto was shocked to hear this, but was also kind of happy. Now he felt like he wasn't useless. Like he actually had something. Now he had 2 dojutsus, and from what they were telling him, AKK Genkai. He was super excited. Now this is where Jiraiya had to break some news. He then said, "Naruto, originally I was gonna make Conan stay with you because I had no place here, so he would got to stay with you. She got to stay with you." But Conan would go out to buy clothes for Rin, and we would refrain from telling the Hokage this for now. But like I said, I had no place here, so that means Rin will have to stay with you too. Naruto blushed at this fact and turned around and said it's okay, and they all led him to his apartment. He said, I'm gonna try to clean it up before you get in, and he summoned 2 shadow clones, and I started to clean up all over the room, moving the empty cartons of milk, expired, no, just telling you, and started to tidy up the place. Using his minimal ninja skills and fixing the room. He opened the door and the room was fairly clean. And it was, to Shinobi, it was messy because Shinobis were clean. But for a normal civilian, this was cleanish. So they went in. Naruto told them that they could sleep in his bed and to don't worry about it. And Rin nodded her head a little shyly, and also Konan nodded her head a little shyly. Now they both went into the bathroom to wash off themselves, and Konan left the room to go and buy clothes for both her and Konan, to both her and Rin. So she went out, and Konan and Rin decided she was going to sleep and slept in Naruto's bedroom. But yeah. So after a while, Naruto got up to go to water. So to go for water, he had to enter his room to go to the room to the kitchen, right? So while passing there, Rin grabbed his shirt and pulled him into the bed, snuggling him. And she, for some reason, was rubbing her legs, and it didn't look like she was completely there, and her eyes were yellow for some reason. And she pinned Naruto to the ground, pinned Naruto to the bed, and started to kiss him on his neck, slowly going down and taking off his pants. Naruto didn't stop her because his manly urges started to hit him, so he wasn't gonna stop her. She finally took off his pants and his boxers and started to suck in on his dick, right? And she then went further down, licking the corners of each corner of Naruto's dick, which Naruto noted got a little bigger than he remembered it. Actually, no, not a little, a lot bigger than he noted. And then he started to see how his muscles and his abs defined. It originally didn't have this. So Rin started to now suck on his balls, and went off from there. Then Naruto decided to go down and lift Rin up onto the bed and place her onto the bed and start kissing her down, just like she started to kiss her, and he just started to eat at her pussy, right? And Naruto, after an hour of doing this, they both knocked themselves out. This is where Konan came back, and she didn't see Naruto in the bedroom, so she went to sleep. And the next day, Konan woke up to scream that, and then both Naruto and Rin woke up, and Rin feeling this weird sensation in her, this weird taste in her mouth, like. And then she stuck her tongue, and there there's this white liquid on her tongue, and she started to move it around, and it started to drip off, which kind of roused Naruto, or turned him on, in other words. And she just looked up and started to move it around, right, until she finally realized what it was. This was semen, whatever you would have fucking called it, right? And she finally realized it hit her. This is cum, and the only way this could get in her mouth is if she had. Then she started to think about it all on last night, and then prior to when she went to sleep, she felt this her whole body burning, and like something trying to escape her, and this is where she lost control of her entire body. But she was spectating, she was in like she was like imagine in Among Us, right? You were there, right? But your soul was out of your body, and you're just spectating. That's how she felt, right? And she saw herself like fucking on Naruto, right? And she blushed heavily and covered her face with the pillow. And Naruto looked at her, also noting what it was. Konan noting too, and she screamed, "Y'all had sex like on the first night of meeting each other? You two are way too horny. Get out, Naruto." And she pushed Naruto out of the room. I started to talk to Ren and ask her why she did that and blah blah blah. She started to explain the feeling that she had, and they went to Jiraiya to tell about this. They explained in detail what happened, and Jiraiya just started chuckling and said, "That's my grandson. Yeah." And he was just having the most fun out of this, right? Honestly, he was having the most fun out of this, right? So he was making jokes about Naruto, saying, "Yo, you lost your virginity," and this is where Ren said it, because Naruto doesn't remember everything fully. This is where Ren says he didn't lose his virginity. We only did oral sex, right? And Jiraiya was like, still sexy, anyways. He asked her why did she die in the first place? Because from Kakashi's report, it said that she killed herself. And Ren also no looking back at it, remembered why she did it. She then explained to Jiraiya that she had the tree tails. And then Jiraiya put two to two together that says since she was reincarnated into a whole new body, the chakra that was in her was still there. It was like it basically copied. Basically, what Naruto did was not bring her back to life. It was copy her whole entire being. Therefore, her memories and everything else that was in her body at the time. But since the three tails were ripped out of her body, meaning the soul, there was just chakra there. It couldn't reanimate a new soul for the Bijou. So it just left it plain there. And he connected the dots that her innate emotions got the whole of her, and her deepest emotion at that point in time was lust. So at that point, she just rapped to Naruto and started to fuck him. Like that's basically what she started to do, right? And right into this whole explanation was blushing heavily, both as Konan, but they understand why happened. So Naruto started to explain what happened to his body, and especially what happened to his dick, right? So Jiraiya said, 1, keep it to yourself sometimes. 2, that is interesting. But he also looked at Naruto again and says, but those clothes aren't gonna work. You're wearing those long pants like they're fucking jeans, like they're fucking short pants. You're gonna need some new clothes. Naruto nodded and said that he's just gonna pick another orange jumpsuit. But Jiraiya noticed something. His voice wasn't as cheerful as it was. Then he asked Naruto about it. Naruto then explained about how he lived, and that he always hid these emotions deep inside of his body. But after his karma sealed, which he's now calling it for some reason, activated, his whole body was changed. It changed itself. Now, it brought out his emotions that he hid for so long. And Jiraiya hugged Naruto, so as Konan and Rin, saying that it will be okay. Now, they went to shopping for Naruto because Konan also roasted Naruto, saying that jumpsuit is completely hideous. I mean, it's garbage. I mean, I would rather wear trash than wear that. And Konan and Rin reluctantly said the same. And Naruto was told not to ever pick clothes ever again. And he was kind of sad, but he understood because no one was there to teach him on how to pick out clothes. But let's skip to someone else. This was a young girl by the name of Yamanaka. She was now at the Ichiraku ramen stand, a place that she liked to go because Naruto went there, but she didn't know why, because she loved Sasuke. But then to her she said, "When's the last time you see Naruto?" But something weird when she heard Naruto's name. At first she was gonna like think that he was disgusting, but then she realized she never really thought Naruto that way. But then something also happened. She got hit with a memory that she couldn't remember. It was her when she was kids. Naruto was holding her hand and his head was bleeding. And when she looked down, she was looking off of a cliff. Naruto pulled her up and says, "Are you okay?" And she was crying and moving her tears and says that she's okay. And then she was shot back out of that memory. Now, the only way to assure this is if Naruto has a scar on his head. And if she does, maybe her feelings will change. Maybe she'll stop liking Sasuke and like Naruto. Wink, wink. So, Naruto got new clothes. He got, basically think of Boruto's clothes, but on Naruto, and him not wearing his headband. Like in this, and like in the picture here, where he's not wearing his headband. Yeah, that. And his headband is rested on his neck, because he found it that way, and he thinks whenever he uses powers, his headband comes off. So he wears it around his neck. And to be honest, they both Conan and Rin said that he kind of looks handsome. And Naruto smiles and thanks them. But instead of the pinkish, purplish red that Boruto wears, Naruto is wearing a complete and utter purple. And Naruto said, Thanks for the clothes, Conan. And she said, "Yeah. I drop off the rest of the pairs of clothes and threw out your jumpsuits." And Naruto said, "Why? Why you throw my jumpsuits, bro? Like, that's fucked up." But she paid no mind to Naruto's nagging, and this is where suddenly Rin clutched her stomach and says, "It hurts. It hurts. Why does it hurt so much?" And Naruto looked at her and placed his hand on her stomach and says, "Are you okay?" And this is where Naruto's karma shield activates again, and comes to his eye, activating both of his Byakugan. And he sees the chakra within Rin, and like it was finishing something. His karma seal pulsed a purple pulse of energy, and it shot into Rin's body. And this is where we looked into Rin's stomach, and now the three tails without a seal, well, not actually no, there's a seal, but a weak seal, but then gets blasted with the purple energy. Then it started to staring back and says, "Who am I?" Now let's skip to the finals of the exam. Naruto faces Neji. Naruto enters the stadium, but prior to this conversation, Naruto was saying how he was gonna beat Neji, and Tenten, being confident Neji would win, said that he was not gonna beat Neji in his life, and says, "No, what? Matter of fact, if you win against Neji," then she proceeded to lift up her skirt, exposing her white panties, saying that if you end up winning, I'll let you have me and do your way with me. Which she proceeded to laugh and sit back onto her seat. Naruto smirked and took up her offer, and he went down. This is where Naruto and Neji started to talk. Neji said that you are nothing but a failure. A person that got through on exams by pure luck, that learned a jutsu by pure luck, and has a lot amount of chakra by pure luck. And Naruto says, "What if it's luck? Who gives a shit? No one gives a shit. I don't think your opinion matters in this case, because your opinion doesn't matter to me. Your opinion is nothing but this insignificant speck on the world. In the end, you mean nothing to me." And Neji takes offense to this and gets into a stance. Naruto gets into a similar stance to him, saying that this is a gentle fake style. One, how you know the stance, But he then pondered, then said, "You know what? You don't even know the use. You're probably just copying me." And they ran together. Neji ran towards Naruto. Neji thought he was gonna get a clear hit on Naruto because he didn't use shadow clones this time. But Naruto blocked his strike and struck at him where Neji blocked his. They kept on blocking each other, blocking and blocking. But Neji not able to understand how Naruto is using the gentle fist. He hasn't activated his Byakugan yet, but he's like, what the fuck is going on here? Naruto says, "I will only defeat you if you beat me with both of our eyes. I'll only fight seriously when that happens." Neji says, "Both of our..." He's talking about my Byakugan. Why did he say his eyes? Neji was getting surprised and intrigued at a point. So he says, "Know what? Fuck it." And he activated his Byakugan. Then Naruto's hand started to glow, while Naruto's palm started to glow, and markings started to appear and come all over his left half of his body, with 2 purple Byakugan appearing in his eyes. Naruto getting the gentle fist style, and says, and both of them saying at the exact same point, 8 trigrams, 64 palms. And before when Naruto got into range of Neji, and says, "Handle this combo." Naruto blocked Neji's first palm attempt, hit him in the chest. Then Naruto hit him in the leg, hit him in the other leg, hit him in the face, hit him in his eye, hitting all over his body, and then kicked him in his stomach. Then before he landed, a shadow clone appeared and kicked him back in the ear. Then this is where Naruto, another shadow clone, kicked him in the face, barreling him to the other side of the ground. Naruto then ran towards him in his normal ninja run, taking out some kunai. But Neji didn't notice something about the kunai. He threw them and they all missed, and Neji smirked, but then he saw something fall limp to the ground. That made him look in utter shock. Explosion tags, all 6, lit it up and exploded right on the other side of his body. He jumped up and he didn't know what happened. He fell onto the ground and he was knocked out. This is where the proctor is still in utter shock, seeing Kid from the Hyuga clan having a Byakugan. This is where in the stands we see both Hinata, Hinabi, and Hinata's father stand up, seeing the Byakugan in Naruto's eyes. This is where the whole crowd is shocked to see the Byakugan in someone other than a Hyuga. And he has both of them, showing that he can also deactivate them. They don't understand why. And this is where Tenten grabs her private area. No, grabs near to her pussy, right? Because you know what's gonna happen after Naruto gets up there, right? But this is where I end off the video, because it's a good, I think it's a good hour or a good 2. So the next episode of this might come out a few days later, but I just wanted to notify you that. See you guys. Have a good day. And I humbly say, deuces, nigga.